Hey, welcome to Beat Nurse Burnout. I'm your host, Shan Wright. And guess what? School gets out tomorrow. Tomorrow starts summer break for us. It's wild. I can hardly believe it. And it's made me think a little bit differently about what the summer has to hold as far as schedule. And I am so curious what your schedule is like. Are your kids out of school? Are they school aged? Are you getting ready for summer? And does that change your schedule at all as far as work? Because you're a nurse. So do you alter your schedule at all during the summer break? I would love to know. Come hang out with me on Instagram at @theshanwright and let me know. Now, before we get started, this is the last episode of May, which means it is still Mental Health Awareness Month. And I have something super special for May that is coming to a close. And that is my collagen sale. Okay, so chronic stress is not just a feeling. It is a physiological process that is happening in your body. It's breaking down your collagen, inflaming your joints, disrupting your hormones, causing weight gain, accelerating aging, quietly doing damage that compounds over time. And most of us, especially nurses, healthcare professionals, we have been in chronic stress for so long, since the beginning, that we've forgotten what it feels like to not feel that way. So one of the most powerful tools I personally recommend to every person that I coach is Liquid BioCell. It is clinically studied, highly bioavailable collagen, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate matrix technology that your body actually absorbs and uses to repair with chronic stress what the chronic stress is actually breaking down. Your joints, your skin, your gut, your energy. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body. So if it's breaking down, that means all the glue that holds your body together is coming unstuck, right? So it works with your body's healing process instead of fighting against it. And right now, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month and Nurses Month, I'm offering an extra $25 off when you DM me the word on Instagram at @theshanwright. Collagen. That's all you have to do is DM me the word. I'll set you up with a special link. I'll take care of you personally. Do not let this deal go by without taking advantage of it. You have just a couple days left. Okay, I've decided for every solo episode, I'm going to now start with a joke. Yeah, so I actually put nursing jokes in my care letter, which is my weekly newsletter. So if you would like to be getting these weekly, then be sure to go to @theshanwright.com and get on my newsletter. But I wanted to start with one today and on all my solo episodes because laughter is the best medicine. It literally lowers your cortisol, boosts your endorphins, and unlike the coffee you've had 4 cups of already, it actually helps your nervous system. So here is one cheesy nurse joke for you. How many nurses does it take to change a light bulb? None. They just chart that the room is dim and wait for the doctor to put in the order. Okay, so if that hit too close to home, stay with me because today's episode is a little bit about that. So on a serious note, today we're going to go underneath the surface because I talk a lot about burnout recovery, nervous system regulation, stress, holistic health, those things. But I've learned over the last 9 years of my own personal holistic healing journey that it's not burnout that's the problem. It's not workload problem. It's not even a healthcare system problem. Though goodness knows that system has got a lot of issues. The root of burnout, the deepest, most stubborn root, the largest root is identity. And that, my friend, is what we're going to talk about today. And by the way, I want to cite my resources. I get a lot of this information from Jamie Winship and his wife, Donna Winship, and his book is called Living Fearless. Amazing. And then another book that I'm actually still reading, but amazing on identity is Dale Mast and David Perceived He Was King. Well, let's go. If you're done running on empty, surviving shift to shift, and feeling life fatigue, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Shan Wright, registered nurse, holistic life coach, and mama of 4 who found her way through burnout and anxiety to peace and purpose with faith-based practices and God's design for whole person wellness. Here, I help nurses like you recover from burnout, regulate your nervous system, reconnect with God, and discover your identity beyond the badge. Are you ready to start caring for you the way you care for everyone else? I am. Go reheat that coffee again and let's beat burnout together. Okay, I want to take you back to a version of Shan that from the outside looked like she had it all together. Really, that's what people would tell me. So straight A's, salutatorian, great athlete, good friend, best behaved kid at home out of 5. And when I got to nursing school, that same perfectionist kid kicked into overdrive because nursing school rewards perfectionism. The program itself is designed to push you past your limits. And for someone who is already wired to achieve and perform and never even fail, college didn't just maintain that identity, it amplified it. And it was getting me ready, right? It was getting me ready for the real big show, which the healthcare system amplifies perfectionism even more. But we learn it. It gets ingrained in our learning style in nursing school. And for most of us before that, for me, childhood. Okay. And here's the thing. I didn't think it was a problem. I actually liked this about myself. I thought, this is how I'm made. This is my competitive edge. This is why I get good grades. This is why I'm a good athlete. I just strive for perfectionism. And if I fall just a tad short, I'm still going to be the best in the room, right? This is what gets me places. And I wasn't wrong. It was working. By every measurable standard. Perfectionism was producing results. But here's the thing it was also producing, and that I wasn't paying much attention to. Disconnection, fractured relationships, a strange distance from God. Even though I was checking all the boxes of faith, prayer, maybe reading my Bible, going to church, I was disconnected. Exhaustion that sleep didn't fix. Weight gain, inflammation, daily headaches. And y'all, I was a nurse. I knew what stress does to the body physiologically, and I was still not connecting those dots in my own life. And I know I'm not alone. This was not a sustainable way to live. I just didn't know it yet. I didn't know that was the problem. So it took, and I'm not exaggerating, a marriage and 3 kids for me to fully feel the weight of what I had been carrying. Because here's what happens when you're a perfectionist and you then become a mother. You cannot perform your way out of motherhood. You cannot achieve your way through it. You cannot control it. You cannot control a baby. And everything that perfectionism promises, if you just do everything right, everything will turn out right, Motherhood will look you dead in the face and say, absolutely not. I was overwhelmed. I was depleted. I was doing all the things and none of them were enough. And finally, in that place, I cried out for help. Okay, and now this prayer, this cry out for help, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't eloquent. It was barely audible. I was in tears. I was just really at the end of my rope. And because perfectionism is rooted in pride, yes, I said it, pride. So pride is a sin. It separates us from God. That's what qualifies it as a sin and is at the root of most sins. And perfectionism says that the cross is not enough for me. I'm not worthy, so I will continue to perfect everyone, myself, of course, and things around me until I am worthy. It says the cross isn't enough. Okay, so perfectionism is rooted in pride, the belief that I can and should be able to handle all of this myself, right? And this was the smallest act of humility I could muster, was this prayer. And even that, God said, that's enough. He just wants us to come to him with our real, true thoughts, our vulnerable, honest, authentic thoughts and feelings. And he's there to help us through them all. Okay. So I finally did it, right? Finally got honest with myself. Said, I think I'm having postpartum anxiety. He's like, yeah, this is the 3rd time, right? And anxiety has been in your life, your whole life, and you're just now seeing it, but it's okay, daughter. You now see it, right? And in this prayer, I'm crying out to God for help. Like, God, just help me because I can't do this anymore, right? And in my spirit, not audibly, but clearly, I sensed God say, no. Now stay with me because that might sound like a terrible answer to a desperate prayer of his daughter. But here's what's wild. That same word, it's in scripture. That same answer to my prayer It's in Luke 10:38-42. Jesus is talking to Martha, a woman who is exhausted and performing and doing all the things. And he says something to her that mirrors almost exactly to the word what I heard in my spirit that day. That's how I know what I heard was real. That's how I know, because it is confirmed with scripture. And that's the Rhema word, where it comes alive to you. You hear it. You hear it in your spirit. You might hear it audibly. It hasn't happened to me yet, but I believe it. And you hear it in the whispers. The living word that lands personally is confirmed by the written word and by the character of God. And that no was the beginning of my freedom. That prayer conversation was the beginning of my holistic healing journey. And what I have learned over these 9 years since that moment is perfectionism it's a false identity. It's rooted again in pride. It's rooted in fear. At its core, it is fear of failure. Because if I fail, then I'm not good enough. If I fail, then it's all on me. And as a nurse, that fear is baked into you, again, before you even graduate. Nursing school installs it. The healthcare system cranks up the pressure because it's not just a bad grade on the line anymore. It's a license. It's a lawsuit. It's a life. And high stakes and high responsibility every single shift. But here's what I've come to understand that has changed everything for me, and I pray it's the same for you. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is a signpost. Fear is pointing directly to the lies that we believe about ourselves, about God, about whether we are truly enough, truly loved, truly safe. And those lies, they produce what I call the false identity, and a way of operating in the world that is not rooted in who God actually says that you are. So I want to take you to one of my anchor scriptures. This is what I teach in my coaching. This is what I teach one-on-ones in my group program. This is what changed my life. And that's why we start here. Isaiah 43:1. But now, this is what the Lord, your creator, says, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you from captivity. I have called you by your name. You are mine. This is identity language. This is belonging. And belonging is not a spiritual nice to have. It is a core human need. Psychologically, physiologically, we are wired for it. And God is saying the answer to your fear is not trying harder, not performing, not achieving more. It's actually knowing whose you are. John 10:3 says, and this is Jesus talking, the doorkeeper opens for this man, and the sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it. And he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. He calls you by a name. In this passage, this is what he is calling. He is naming Jacob to Israel. He says, now I have called you by your name. You are mine. He identifies you with a name. Every prominent person in scripture had a name change. Abram became Abraham, Jacob became Israel, Simon became Peter, Saul became Paul. A new name is a new identity, and it's all over the Bible. The word is full of case studies of people who lived under false identities, and we see exactly what it cost them and what freedom looks like on the other side. So here's the clinical connection I want you to hear as a nurse and as a caregiver. You can only reflect what you have received. If I'm operating as a perfectionist, constantly feeling like a failure, covered in fear at work, at home, in my relationships, then this is what I'm reflecting to everyone around me. My patients, my coworkers, my kids, my spouse. So scientifically, no organism can form around any concept other than identity. Look at scripture, look at human behavior, look at nature, look at science. Everything grows from identity outward. An authentic identity produces healthy systems. A corrupted identity produces, and I'll just say, cancerous, parasitic results. I mean, that is the healthcare system, right? It started with humans, it's run by humans, it's filled with humans, and until we address identity at the root, we are managing symptoms personally, systemically. It is a sick care system. This is literally the foundation because of my journey of my care method, the C in care is clarify your identity first. Because when we know who God knit us to be, our being in our mother's womb, and we rise up from the false identities we've been living under, we don't just recover from burnout, we find our purpose, we find our joy, we find our peace, we find ourselves. You were not created in your mother's womb as a nurse. That is a job. That is a title, that is a career path that you chose because of the gifts and talents and abilities that God put inside of you. But that's not your identity. Okay? So here's what I want to leave with today, because I could go on about this forever. But here is your invitation to go deeper. It's a journal prompt or it's a thought prompt. But if you have a hard time journaling, just talk this out in your notes section of your phone or send a voice note to yourself on text message and just talk it out if you have a hard time. But journaling really does slow you down, which is, maybe it's a skill we need to work on, right? So journal prompt. What am I afraid of? That's it. Start right there. Write it out. The fears at work, the fears at home, the fears you don't ever say out loud, because those fears are giving you the clues to the lies you are believing. And once you can see the lie, you can ask God, what do you say about me? What do you call me? What am I believing about myself that is not true? Who do you say that I am? That is where identity work begins. And if you want to do that work together, which I highly, highly advise you doing it with someone, I want to invite you to book a complimentary stress assessment call with me. On that call, we will do exactly this. When you book the call on Calendly, it will ask you a question and you can just write identity. Okay. And then I'll know exactly that's what we're going to talk about. We will look at what's driving your burnout, trace it back to the root, and start talking about what recovery looks like for you. You can find the link in the show notes or DM me over at Instagram at @theshanwright. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to get you on this complimentary call, because literally it will change your entire life. I hear from so many clients that work with me. When you asked me who I am, it changed everything for me. Okay. So let's do it together. Thank you so much for, hanging in there with this conversation. This is the work. This is what matters. You matter. And the world needs nurses who are whole, who are holistically healed. And it starts with who you are at your core, who God created you to be. So until next time, shalom, shalom. I pray that blessed you, and it would bless me big if you would share the show with a friend or write a review. It will only take a few minutes, and it's the best way for people to find the show too. I would love to connect over on Instagram at @theshanwright, or you can email me hello@theshanwright.com. And until next time, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom.